This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
To She Wasn't Born Yesterday for women who are 40 plus fabulous by the Empty Nest Chicks. I'm Janet Evans, ex-M&C Saatchi advertising creative who have won numerous radio and TV awards. Not that that'll affect us because we're doing a podcast.
And I'm Dr. Amelia Haynes, who has been a medical doctor for 30 years and specialising in sexual health and mental health and relationships, and I'm generally a very useful human being.
Well, we'll find out about that, but we are here to work together.
People tell me on good authority that I am.
Really? Yes, well, they never say that to me, so I think we're the perfect hosts for She Wasn't Born Yesterday. Dr. Amelia, how are you?
Yes,
we're here
I'm
today to talk about rising to the top in a man's world. And I think as women who are 40 plus fabulous, we've possibly all experienced some sort of
I feel like we
sexism.
like we've missed the boat.
Well,
most of us.
Yeah, well, I hope it's not too late because I think things are changing, but I wonder how much they're changing because, in order to do this podcast, we did a little bit of digging around. We did, and we discovered that currently only 22% of CEOs and 35% of key management decisions are held by women in the Australian workforce. That's today. So that's 22%, which,
1 in 5, yeah.
Yeah, right. I can't do the math because I'm not good at math. So it still feels like we've got a very long way to go. And I thought it'd be interesting, it'd be really fascinating to chat to someone who has risen to the top in a man's world, and particularly in the quite misogynistic man's world of advertising. We're talking Mad Men type situations here.
Yeah.
And she is, in fact, the amazing, gorgeous and fabulous Shaz Edmondston, National Creative Director of M&C Saatchi.
Wow.
Hi,
fantastic.
Shaz.
Lucky us. Hello.
How are you today?
Good.
We're both 40 plus fabulous.
I probably should correct you. The Group Creative Director, not the National Creative Director.
Okay, right. Group Creative Director, yes.
But we do have a fabulous female National Creative Director.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yes, we do.
Emma Robbins. So, yes.
Yes.
She's risen to the top more than me.
Yes. But hey,
But you've risen pretty high, and I think it'll be good to talk to you.
Yeah. Gorge, look, I particularly want to know, when you first started out in advertising, did you find that there was like the kind of barriers to you progressing because you're a woman?
Oh, I think it's really, at the time, I don't think it was as obvious that it was gendered, although there were a few comments around the place. I remember being literally a junior art director at an agency, and I heard one of the more senior suits say that she had a conversation with one of the owners of the company, and he had said, what's really great about hiring women? They work twice as hard and you only have to pay them half as much.
Oh, no.
So that was an anecdote that I had heard very, very early on.
Wow.
It's funny. I do think that I've definitely experienced things that were not ideal. I do think that there was definitely a prove that you deserve to be there. Like we had to prove really, really hard that we had to be there. Another fun anecdote.
That's what we want.
I've got a couple.
Yeah, good.
That probably aren't that fun. But there was, this is a really controversial thing. And
Go for it.
It's really bad. Not naming names, but
name names. Go on.
I just want to be clear that I wasn't responsible for this comment.
Yeah.
This is just what the comment was said to me when I was hired.
Yeah.
My boss said to me the other day, one of the other senior leaders came in and he said, look, I've heard that you've been going around saying that you don't hire women or gay people in your creative department. And keep in mind, this is him hiring me, right?
Yeah.
That he laughed and he said, I would never, ever, ever say that. I said, no chicks, no fags.
Yeah, lovely. Made it.
Wow.
Yeah, doubled down and how?
What if you're a gay woman?
Well, and so that I was supposed to take that as a compliment that I had changed his mind.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I was kind of indoctrinated into the Highlander syndrome a little bit over my career, and I didn't even know that it existed until I spoke to Cindy Gallop.
Yes.
And I felt ashamed because I know that I had really been very protective of what I had been, I suppose, trained to feel was what made me special, being the only female in the department. Like we all had our own specialties, and mine just happened to be, well, that I was female, although that wasn't at all what my speciality was.
Yeah.
But it was, I guess, a perception, right? So, and I would get asked from time to time about other female hires, and I was really quite nervous about that.
Wow.
And I felt, retrospectively, I feel sick that I wasn't really throwing my arms around bringing more women into the agency. And I spoke to Cindy Gallop about it because it was more like, I guess it's like confessing to the Pope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, bless me, Cindy, I have sinned, like what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And she was like, it's so common. It is so common. And she said it's called Highlander syndrome because there could only be one. And she said it's something that all around the world in creative departments and agencies all around the world, there were women just like that.
And because we're underrepresented, we don't have that force, that support behind us. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Well, just that it was a novelty.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like outwardly portrayed as a novelty. So when the novelty is gone, well, what makes you special? What makes you stand out? Are you then, what happens next?
I know. And the question is, what makes any of them stand out?
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course.
Because they were mates, they were all buddies. And, I know another anecdote from someone who had a partner, a female partner who worked in an agency, and he said she would go in and she would work her ass off every time she would start a new position, and all of the guys in the agency would just roll their eyes and go, well, here we go. Here comes another woman into the department who's going to try to show us all up, work way too hard, make our lives difficult. And so there's animosity in many ways.
Yeah.
Because everybody universally knows that when women come into a situation like that, that they're going to prove themselves because they feel like they have to.
Yeah.
And they obviously feel like it makes them look bad, which is incredibly, insecure.
Yeah.
Like it's a really bad place to be functioning from. Yeah.
Very dysfunctional.
So dysfunctional.
Why is it that so many businesses, not just advertising, but businesses are in this situation where it seems to be run by men for men, and it sounds like women are still a novelty if we're only 1 in 5 in representation at senior roles?
I have seen so much dramatic positive change in this industry. I can't even tell you.
This is gorgeous. Like really.
And you know what? I personally feel I have so much license to create change within this agency that I'm working at.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really up to me. I can make stuff happen. And I've seen so much change. Like we have 50-50 management roles across the group.
Yeah, wow.
Which is pretty unusual.
What do you think made the change?
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think attracting, I think when you've got a culture that's really progressive, you're going to attract people to come in that who are aligned with those values and excited by them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And maybe it's something, if it starts, that sort of thing has its own little babies and you kind of get the exponential growth. Like the baby has babies.
Because I think, if guys have been running businesses and guys have been the key people in, for example, ad agencies, then obviously it is going to be their own little exclusive microcosm.
Yeah.
And until you sort of bust into that and start to eat away at that and bring up the representation of women, then that's never going to change, is it?
I suppose it's one of those things too where not only do you need women being allowed in, but you also need men who actually want female voices involved.
It's funny. The thing I think was the flashpoint for change was the shift within this organisation from being maternity leave to parental leave.
Right.
That's interesting.
It's such a radical change. And I would say that it is such a societal, it affects way beyond just what happens in advertising. It's not just a couple of weeks off. It sends a message that men and women, for the duration of parenthood, which is forever, have, right?
Yeah.
Have equal roles to play, right? So, but that doesn't just kind of extend to kids. It also extends to caring. And I feel like there's a couple of reasons why I think we've been underrepresented throughout businesses in leadership positions and then in senior positions, right? And it's, it's having babies, right? The expectation that you have to stay at home or that you're going to leave again. There's a transient. They think you're going to not be there, so they don't invest in someone who's just going to leave to have a baby. Then once you have established that women are carers, any role that requires care is filled by a woman. So if there is someone who becomes ill, or if somebody who needs to be taken care of in a special kind of way, or even as parents age and kids have to start kind of looking after them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, that off you go, the default is the woman. But with certain things like parental leave, what you're establishing is, oh, no, in society, men also have to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I know, novel concept.
Yeah, it's such a cultural shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's fabulous, right?
Yeah.
But this is why I don't really care for flash in the pan campaigns. I'm kind of more interested in policy. You know, I mean, that said, I do plenty of flash in the pan.
I think we all do.
You know, but the stuff that really, really matters is policy. I feel like the thing that probably is starting and has in the last couple of years really started to shift, and it's probably feels like one of the last shoes to drop, is perimenopause and menopause. Because a lot of people do exit industry because of the challenges.
Yeah.
And where's the support systems?
Yeah.
You know, who's ever talked about perimenopause and menopause?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's ever talked about it? Women don't even talk about it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's true,
I
isn't
know.
it?
Isn't that just ridiculous that
Yeah, it
it's
is.
embarrassing?
It is weird, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like depression, talking about depression years ago would be, you just wouldn't talk about it. But menopause is still that thing, isn't it? And perimenopause. And the greater number of women that come into workforces and start rising to the top and stick around in industries because of these great policies, well, we're going to have to talk about it because, you know, we're all going to be having hot flushes and in meetings, and we're going to have to open windows and just deal with it and talk about it.
Yeah, and people already are, and they're suffering. I'm more aware now of what's going on than I've ever been before, just because somebody within the organisation had been through it, and because I'm co-chair of the Women's Network and I had known this person for a very long time. She confided in me and I was like, wow, okay, I don't even know what it is. And this is literally last year.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in a funny way, it's almost like, you know, when water breaks in a movie, or you've got women pushing and even giving birth is a punchline. You know, in popular culture.
Yep.
So is menopause, or even being told that you can't have an opinion because, oh, what are you on your period?
Oh,
Well, don't worry. You know, I'm sure we've all had that before, just
Yeah.
because we disagreed with somebody. It's just the weaponization of female bodies, isn't
I
it?
know. It is so insane. I'm just thinking, we haven't done the reverse, which is good. Like when a man goes and gets into a red sports car, we should say, oh, crap, you know, suddenly you've become irrelevant. You're obviously having midlife crisis. Yeah.
Well, there was that famous little finger campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Really put a lot of guys offside.
Yeah. Poor
We like
babies.
that. We
Poor
like that.
babies. Yeah.
But speaking of Cindy Gallop, in case people are listening and don't know who she is a force of nature, but she is an advertising veteran. She's an equality rights activist. She's a corporate coach and founder of Make Love Not Porn. And I love her slogan, which is I blow shit up. And that is her personal brand, and she does. And she's so pro-women. It is just fantastic. And I just want to read a little bit of what she said, and this is particularly relevant to advertising, but it is such a weird and profound truth. More and more women are calling out the all-male or male-dominated upper echelons of ad land and pointing out how this is actually damaging us in a world where the majority of consumers of every product are female. So it's just so ironic that women would still be so underrepresented in business and in advertising.
Well, it seems like bad business, frankly, doesn't it? Yeah, it seems like insane business that if we're the ones who kind of do decide which car gets bought and all of those things, that we aren't actually represented.
Yeah. I don't know about your experience, Shaz, gorgeous, but, you know, when I was like starting out in advertising, the guys would get kind of like the cool kind of briefs, but the women would get the briefs about tampons or women's magazines. You know, it was so sexist. Fortunately, I've seen that change, and I have to say M&C is one of the most progressive agencies that I've ever worked at because of those policies.
Yes.
And thankfully, you've been part of making that change.
But actually, what do you think, when you do reflect back on it now, what was it about the way that you conducted yourself, or was it a complete fluke that you were able to rise and keep rising? What were the differences, do you think?
I think everybody's got a story, right? Everybody's got a story.
Totally.
And mine is interesting, probably not something that I would recommend anyone replicate. And
Okay, give it a whirl.
so I went to university and did a Bachelor of Graphic Design.
Yep.
I interned at a photographic studio. I pretty much worked for free. It was fabulous for them.
For them. Yeah,
That's right.
Fabulous for them.
Yeah. And then I went to a below-the-line agency. I worked there for 8.5 years before they got bought by another company. And then I moved over to a place called Junior, which was amazing, like such a great company. At that point, like I'd been in Brisbane kind of under the radar for a very, very long time, grinding, just being a really solid performer, working my butt off, but like just really focused on excellent design and art direction, just trying to push it as far as I could. But probably conceptually, it wasn't really a thing. I was kind of sitting in the lower to mid. When I went to Junior, the creative director and co-founder, Steve, he recognised my talent. He's a wonderful man. And he worked with me directly. And then he was like, well, I can't actually continue to work with you in this way because I've got to be the CD of the rest of the agency.
Yeah.
But I will find somebody for you. And he matched me with somebody. And that person came up from Sydney to work with me, and we worked together really well. And he was acting like he was a kid in the candy store up in Brisbane, because he thought Brisbane was like New Zealand. And at the time, New Zealand was like you couldn't walk outside without falling over some kind of award-winning piece of ambient advertising.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. Funnily enough, his ignorance of what Brisbane really was an incredible opportunity, and we made some incredible work and did it really quickly. So that was great. And then he came back to Sydney because he hadn't worked with anybody with my kind of craft skills before. And so he was like, if a job is right, I'm going to bring you to Sydney. Okay. So the job was right, and although it was for a couple of weeks freelance, I threw my job, brought my kids for a couple of weeks freelance in Sydney just for the opportunity. So it was a big risk. I had just separated with my husband. It was I had to negotiate with him because I had to move my kids out of the state. It was very tricky.
Wow. Yes. No, that sounds very tricky.
Yeah, it was tricky. But I suppose there's moments in your life where you go, I'm going to roll the dice and back myself, or I'm not.
And do you also think that maybe it was genuine friendship? Like it seems like it was something more than just a professional being professional, that it was actually a professional kind of, you know, really seeing you and really valuing you as a human being.
I suppose the relationship developed over time. Like, we had a wonderful friendship, but the friendship was definitely based on our professional relationship first and foremost. And I suppose I spent a lot of time working alone.
Yeah, it sounds like he was the kind of man who was able to see you, though.
So are you talking about Steve or the person he partnered me with?
The person he partnered you with, actually, interestingly.
Yeah. Well, yes, he did see that I was value for sure. Anyway, so I came to Sydney and we worked together for a very long time. And then we didn't work together anymore.
Why not?
Oh, man, okay. I mean,
This is not
you have a
a spill
falling
your
out?
guts kind of. No. No, you're saying.
Oh, I want to know.
Oh, okay.
Here's what I'll say, because, like,
Yes, you need to be careful.
it's a pretty personal story, but I would say
Love it.
that and I suppose I advise people when they ask me about partnerships in this way. You have to have a partner with shared ambition.
Okay.
And you have to have a partner with a shared work ethic. And you have to grow at the same rate.
Tricky.
Okay. That is
Very
tricky.
tricky.
That's a lot of variables.
Yeah, it's three things.
There's a lot of variables. And I think what can be good, what can be very, very good for a long time, it can be really devastating when it falls apart.
Yeah.
And I had a pretty profoundly devastating breakup with that
Oh, no.
creative partner.
Yeah.
And I've been without a creative partner ever since.
How did you steady yourself?
I had an incredible support network around me.
Okay.
And I think in the years that built up to the deterioration of our team, I think the people around us could see the dynamics and what were happening.
Right.
So when it did fall apart, as I say, a lot of the relationship was professionally based, like because of what I would do that they didn't necessarily have to do. I kind of did a lot of covering for them. I suppose people started to pour their energy more in my direction. It wasn't my intention. But people tend to see what's in front of them and react to it. And so that was interesting. When that happened, I had an incredible outreach of support.
Awesome. Yeah.
And look, it also liberated me in many ways, because in some ways I'd kind of felt like I was locked to this partnership.
Yes.
Because the start of my career in Sydney had been very much a story of this team.
Yes.
No, it wasn't about me at all. It was about us. And I loved that it was about us and we were on this journey together. But when you grow apart from somebody and you can't make them want what you want.
No.
And you can also, like, I'm glad that I didn't plateau and say, okay, I'm going to settle. This is as far as you want to go, and I'm going to, I guess that
compromise
for me. And when, in a way, it was like a moment of complete, right, now you can just be you. And at the same time, I was given the opportunity by a key player at the agency who said, hey, do you want to launch a women's thing for the agency? We're sponsoring the 3% conference, which is basically a conference that started in America because CEOs, like 3% of CEOs were women when they started.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's only 25% now.
Still, yay. It's an improvement.
It's definitely better than 3.
It's a massive improvement.
Yeah.
A long way to go, but far out, right?
Yeah.
So it was a total reset moment for me. And at that point, and that was when I met Cindy Gallop, by the way, which was interesting. Yeah, from that point on, I suppose I embraced the freedom that I had. I embraced the fact that I knew I had people around me in my corner who wanted me to thrive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had seen my story and I really unfold. And that, they believed in me.
Hey, do you know, just one thing I want to ask you. I read, this is very random coming from left, someone recommended that I read the life story of, and now I'm going to forget his name, he's very famous, like English actor. Oh, Michael Caine, he came to me.
Michael Caine, yep.
Autobiography. And one of the things he really emphasises, and I do understand that we're talking about a male, non-female here, but one of the things he really underlines is the idea that you turn up on time and that you work and that you're professional all the time and blah, blah, blah. Tell me about you. Have you found that it's those kind of things that also make a big difference to how the whole kind of environment of Adland kind of saw you?
That I would just show up, that I'd be there.
Show up and that you turn up on time and that you're professional. And produced whatever kind of product they kind of asked for, and you were dependable, I suppose, actually. It's probably a good
absolutely.
word. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Janet will agree, I know. You kind of live in this perpetual hamster wheel in that kind of life,
Yeah.
Like the last job you do is the only thing that anyone remembers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
No one seems to remember anything else.
That's
It's just
vaguely
always in your
terrifying. That is really
It's true.
rather terrifying. Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
It's so funny, right? What have you just done, like literally last week
Yep.
or yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what have you got happening right in the immediate future?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, okay, so will that win awards? Is it globally excellent? You know? And so there's always this kind of downward pressure to perform at the highest level, always.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have something in your back pocket that you can go, yep, I've got something. I have got something. And if you don't have something, you start to feel a bit nervous.
Yeah. Gorgia, I want to ask you because, inevitably there'll be moments in every woman's career where you have to kind of water off a duck's back kind of thing when you get some random sexist comment or something like that, or even people who are trying to feel so insecure they're trying to bring you down. What's your particular strategy for rising above all of that kind of thing? Did you develop one over time, or is it just a natural ability you have? What sort of strategy do you have?
There's been a couple of different instances, and I think it depends on how it unfolds, right? So if something's a throwaway comment, then you can throw away a response in return. So, for example, oh, so you're on your period, and I would just be like, well, I'm happy to prove to you that I'm not.
I love it.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Or, I've had instances where a client on a set was pretty inappropriate. I reported it straight away. I think there's something to be said for talking about it with people that you trust who are in the immediate vicinity, and then kind of seek counsel on what should happen. It also doesn't really happen anymore. So,
That's a stunning comment. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more, people check themselves a little bit more than they potentially used to.
Yeah.
Or, for the more old school people, I suppose I just take it for what it is, ignorant people who I don't really care about their opinion saying stupid things because they're stupid.
So do you think women have to have a thicker skin than men in a lot of business and corporate situations?
Look, it's funny because I was talking to my daughter about this as well, because she's doing STEM. She's in aerospace engineering, and she's one of 6 of 50 in her class. And that's today, right? So that's incredibly underrepresented. And I said to her, how do you feel, about those dynamics between men and women? And she said something really interesting, as she always does. And it was like, guys are naturally more combative in the way that they talk to each other. Now, I don't think that's necessarily something that all men are naturally good at.
Yeah.
Right? But it's something that they kind of, I suppose, may expect because it's just part of the male culture.
Yeah.
So when you've got that debate and they have opinions and they're happy to fight about their opinions, but, she was saying, like, if you say anything in that, then you've got to be prepared to go into combat for your opinion.
Yeah.
And as a woman, it's not enough for you to just have an opinion. You've got to prove it in a court of law.
Yeah. You've got to be able to back it up.
You've got to back it up. We're not quite there yet. We're not really entitled to just have an opinion because we think so. It's like, no. And I think that's kind of spills across all kinds and manifests itself in so many ways. And I feel like it's why when I was coming through the ranks, I felt like I had to outshine everyone because I had to be the best. I had to prove that I was the best. There is a common thread of women have to prove. Men can show up and have an opinion, but women have to prove it all the time.
This just isn't right. It's not appropriate. I really object to this.
It's not appropriate. But do you believe it? Do you believe it's true?
Yeah, totally believe it.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally believe it. It is unfair in as much as actually it's not bad to have to back up your opinion. Like it's actually quite a good thing. But I was going to say it's immensely unfair that actually men in general don't have to.
It's annoying, very annoying. Yeah. And is that just something that's innate in women to feel a little more insecure, perhaps, about who we are?
I think a little more scrutinised, Janet. I think it's more scrutinised.
Yeah, okay.
We're more scrutinised for the way we look. Everything we do is scrutinised and judged, not just by men, by other women, by everyone.
That's
I
true.
know. We're
That's
our
true.
own worst enemies.
Yeah.
I'm hoping very hard. Actually, will it ever change? I don't know. I feel like it's inbuilt that women are very hard on other women.
Yes.
And just at the worst times. So I talked about the fact that actually men actually stepping out and being nicer to women has been like so helpful, so unbelievably helpful. But other women, we need to be nice and supportive, like not in a stupid way, but in an intelligent way to one another.
Yeah, just bolstering each other up.
I have 2 daughters. I'm not 100% sure that we're there yet.
But Gorge, I think part of this too is other women like Shaz being role models for women coming through. But Gorge, how do you get the time and the energy to be able to be there?
You mentioned children, so please keep telling us.
Just to add that extra layer of everything else you're doing, you're actually a role model for other women.
I think, first of all, what I learned when I was raising my kids when they were little, they're not little anymore, they're 18 and 21, so they're not kids anymore. Yeah. When they were younger in primary school and whatnot, and I was working, what I learned was it is actually remarkable what you can do when you have to do it. Like you just find the time. And if you make a commitment to something, like I suppose when I get somebody calls me out of the blue and says, hey, I'd really like to just have a chat and I don't know who they are, I'll just go, yep, and I'll make a diary appointment and I'll see them. I've made a promise to myself that I will do that thing. Sometimes I'm a little bit slow getting back to messages or emails or things like that, but it's in my little book. I've got to reply and I try to make sure that if I'm slow to respond, I at least apologise. But yeah, it is important to me that people do feel that there is a sympathetic ear or someone that they can reach out to and talk to. There's a program called the Aunties that's very healthy in Melbourne but not so healthy here, which is basically a cohort of advertising women who younger, I suppose, women or women just in general across the industry can call up and ask for advice.
I love it.
Yeah. Everyone needs their auntie.
I'm kind of an auntie that's not an auntie. But, yeah, I guess, I also think, it's good to know who's out there.
Yeah, I'm feeling anxious. Maybe it says more it says more about me than anything else, that I'm thinking, would I want to ring like an auntie? I feel like I'd be chewed out by an auntie. But, I feel like maybe I can't trust women.
What are your aunties like?
They're all dead. Anyway, actually,
that doesn't help.
That's not quite true. I do have one that's still alive, and she's lovely.
Yeah, no. But I think that's important because, there's that piece of wisdom that says you can't be what you can't see. So if you don't have those women in place, then how do you aspire to those roles? But do you think the glass ceiling idea is still there, Gorge?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I think it's also we see how hard the women who have done well, we see how hard they've had to work to get there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody gets anything handed to them, but nobody does. But yeah, we've probably got to push a little bit harder, to get there. I think obviously the glass ceiling gets broken, but it's still, I do think it's still there.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having to actually make an effort, as you actually point out very nicely, Shaz. But I do feel like, even I feel like the glass ceilings, that even in medicine, actually medicine is actually one of the kind of professions for having kind of an equality between sexes.
Yeah. But it's
not perfect.
Because we were chatting before, when Dr. Amelia was starting out, she had kids, and that effectively ended your opportunity
yeah.
to...
It wouldn't happen now, but,
Yeah.
27 years ago I got pregnant and was asked to leave the psychiatry scheme. Like, a lot of them would be horrified by that now. But yes, my life would be very different.
Which is not that long ago. I mean, thank goodness it's changing really rapidly. But, this also, I feel like this gender pay gap is a big, big factor in women's rise to the top as well, because we still feel as if we're not going to be remunerated in the same way as men are. We don't just feel it, that is the case. And why do you think that is?
It's so funny, hey. I think this is like a big old hangover that is a very convenient old hangover.
Yeah.
It's like, women don't really have to work. I've actually seen this written in an industry blog only a couple of years ago.
My goodness.
And it's like a folly for women to work.
It's a bit of a
because
hobby.
men are the breadwinners, right? And so by employing and paying for a woman, you're stealing the breadwinner's money.
Yeah.
Like there's some kind of weird baked in, we talk about unconscious bias. It's kind of in that realm.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my old creative partner actually had the salary conversation with my boss without me in the room and told me what I was going to be on and that he was going to be on more.
No.
And I said, hang on, what? I'm like, we're a team. We've been doing the same stuff for like a long time.
Wow.
And he said, who the do you think you are that you would ever make the same as me?
Wow.
Right?
I can't understand why you broke up. I really can't.
we stayed together for a long time after that.
Oh,
but which was probably a mistake. But also, here I am. So whatever. Well, I mean, I sucked it up plenty of times and just went, okay, well, I guess that is what it is. What do you do?
Yeah.
And it was really quite amazing because when my employer kind of understood the dynamics of our relationship a bit more, he tried to make it right, but it was so far behind. And there was an international holding company that he had to give me more frequent incremental pay rises over time. And every time I got one of those, my partner used to give me a hard time about it because he didn't get one.
Oh, wow.
So the money thing is a very tricky, sensitive, horrible experience for a lot of women.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like, I remember Cindy Gallup actually said, men just go in there and ask for the pay rise. It doesn't matter what they've done or whether they actually deserve it or not. They just go for it. Whereas women question whether they've earned it, whether they're worth it. And it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, because women don't often walk into a negotiation being prepared to leave. But the people who they are negotiating with believe that a man would leave, but they don't think women would. So they take a little bit more liberties with women because they're less likely to leave as a result of a bad negotiation.
Yeah.
And it's toxic.
Yes.
It's really toxic.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah. Obviously has been a shift, but there needs to be a lot more without a doubt.
Yeah,
and without being churlish and horrible about it, there really does need to be a lot of shift. Still. Yeah.
I think that we should honestly have a very transparent, I think we should all know
What everyone else earns.
what we're getting, what we're earning. I think we should be a lot more open about it. And the funny thing is, a lot of the juniors are very open about it with each other.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's incredibly healthy, and I think it's the way forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to tell you because I'm actually earning more than you, but you probably don't know that.
Well, I respect that, Janet. I know the value you bring to the company. You're worth every penny.
You betcha, baby.
No wonder you love Shaz.
I love Shaz.
I totally understand now.
Gorge, if there's what are you most proud of for having brought into M&C? Because one thing Shaz has brought in is an initiative called M&C, which she thought of the title. She came up with the
very
logo.
nice.
She's so
It's very
talented,
nice. Love it. Yeah.
But it's all about supporting women who have their side hustles and just rising them up in the industry and in their own lives as well.
Nice.
But what else are you awesomely proud of that?
Yeah, I would be more proud of that if we actually had created it in a more robust way. I think that as a platform, it's been a really interesting one. So we kind of set up this femme marketplace thing, and was pretty much like to draw out what people were doing at home. It's amazing, especially in a creative community, like what people across the entire business, not just in the creative department, but right through the whole business, there were people, entrepreneurs, making things, doing things.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, that's the kind of people that we should be celebrating. And no one should be doing that behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to do your work, let alone do your work and do have a business,
Your side
and
hustle.
start up on the side.
Totally. I was thinking one of the reasons for it is because when we don't pay equity, but that's another thing that we were just talking about. But absolutely, that sounds magnificent. Actually, when we talked to the influencer, we talked to, and we had one podcast with a fantastic female influencer, and one of her big areas of interest is exactly that. She said in Indonesia, all the women are working so hard and they all have a side hustle. They have like an amazing business on the side.
Wow.
Yeah. It reminds me of that. Women are amazing.
Amazing. We are amazing. There should be more of us in management, like Shaz.
They should be killing male babies off at birth.
Man, only a doctor could get away with saying something like that. Oh, my goodness. Rein it back, girls.
Dear,
gorgeous.
I don't mean that.
We loved having you on the podcast today, but I just want to leave us with, if there was one piece of advice you could give women to help us rise to the top, what would that little nugget be?
Don't let anybody tell you how you've got to do it.
Wow.
Those are words to live by, basically.
Wow.
Even if that person is the person you love the most in the world.
Okay.
I would even say.
You love your boss that much?
No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about like your mum or your dad or your...
Oh, yeah.
Like there is no one way to do things. Everything can be shaped to create some kind of other balance. So, I think you have to have good priorities and know that whatever needs to happen for you to happily get there in a healthy way, you should feel empowered to make those choices because only you know.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you for such an inspiring session, gorgeous.
That has flown by.
Loved talking to you and thank you so much, gorgeous. We hope to chat to you again. Gorgi, we hope you enjoyed this episode, but we'd love to get to know you better and share more about our lives, what we get up to, what you get up to, and some insider goss and cheeky sneak peeks.
So why not join our Facebook group? It's called She Wasn't Born Yesterday, for lots of little extras. Your chance to comment, make suggestions, tell us if there's a topic you'd like us to talk about.
Or just to say g'day. Either way, join us next week on She Wasn't Born Yesterday. We look forward to your company.
Hope 1032. Thanks for listening.